The story kicks off at Tongil High School, located over in Seoul, South Korea. The sun is scorching hot, and the students from the second group are already starting their run on the training field. Meanwhile, the teacher warns that the third group is up next, and that no one should lose steam just because of the heat. Kim Sel is a second-year student who is absolutely hating having PE class in this sweltering weather. Seizing an opportunity, she slips into the classroom to rest for a bit and escape all that exhaustion. But when she gets there, she notices our MC sprawled out on one of the desks, acting kind of weird. The boy lifts his all smushed up face and looks at Kim Sol with an expression that says he couldn't care less about life. He quickly tries to explain himself, saying that people might get the wrong idea, but he has no bad intentions there. Furthermore, our hero claims with a straight face that he was just testing to see if that desk was actually safe. But the girl doesn't buy that story for a second and plants a kick right in the poor guy's face. She gets furious and complains that he's been nothing but trouble since he transferred to this new school. Kim Sol asks why he was messing with her stuff, while the guy tries to recover from the blow. The mood gets tense because she promises to totally wreck our MC for being a complete creep. Suddenly, Lee Hyuna shows up at the door, asking what's going on because of all the shouting. The new girl is also a second year, and says she heard a huge commotion while passing through the hallway. Kim Sol gets mad and tries to explain the situation, claiming she just caught the guy red-handed. They start discussing the situation in a funny way while trying to figure out what the boy was trying to do. However, when they look to the side, they realize the room is empty and the guy has vanished like a ghost. Kim Sol yells, asking where that idiot went, while her friend wonders if she's feeling okay. Meanwhile, our MC is outside, hanging from the window, just watching everything in silence. Hanging from the window, our hero stays quiet, as he watches the other students pass by without even noticing his presence. As night falls, we see just one lit window in a commercial building, where something very important is happening. Sitting on a couch, the boy Soo-hyun receives praise for his hard work, while a woman prepares some hot coffee. Song Chae-rin, the leader of the intelligence service, states that he averted a huge crisis with his quick and precise action. Meanwhile, other agents check the area and receive news that the recovery team has already taken care of everything. Showing the result of the operation, we see the culprit completely gagged and with zero chance of escaping the situation. Tied up like a mummy inside a locker, the villain becomes a joke among the agents who find the method amusing. Analyzing the documents, the leader comments that the guy was just a small fry compared to all the effort put in by the team. Additionally, she points to the board and explains that the plan was to plant a dangerous bomb under a student's desk. Curious, the hero asks if this whole thing was just a test to measure the strength and reaction of their agency. Confirming his suspicion, she says they were just testing the waters because the real game has now truly begun. In the picture, we see Kim Sol, an 18-year-old girl who is a candidate to be the next leader of North Korea. Looking at the mission board, it's clear that the struggle for power next door involves young people in a very twisted game. Chae-rin laments that someone so young is the target of such cruelty, but knows that the world is a harsh reality. Therefore, she asks for Soo-hyun's full attention so that the boy understands the gravity of everything that is to come in the mission. With a confident smile, the leader says that the girl's life is in their hands and that she has complete faith in our hero. Identified as the youngest Black Ops agent in the agency, the protagonist accepts the challenge with his usual seriousness. Changing the subject, she asks if he has made any new friends while he was undercover at the school for the past few weeks. The boy remains completely silent with a blank look on his face, leaving the woman quite surprised by this strange reaction. In the end, she realizes that the protagonist hasn't made a single friend and is shocked by his lack of social skills. Our MC states with absolute certainty that his lack of a social life will not interfere with his secret mission. But the leader, Chae-rin, quickly interrupts the guy and explains that the whole point is precisely the opposite. Furthermore, looking deep into his eyes, she gives a direct order for our hero to make friends now. The very next day, Tongil High shines under the sun as classes begin for all the students. However, hidden behind a locker, our MC keeps whispering the word friend to encourage himself. Meanwhile, Kim Sol has a look of pure hatred because she can feel that the weirdo is nearby again. Because she points at the guy and tells her classmate that he's a clueless creep who won't stop following them. So Humana just gives an awkward smile while the other girls comment that Kim Sol is funny. Other students also start gossiping behind the girl's back, calling her crazy and an attention seeker. Hearing all that chatter, Kim Sol just scratches her ear and says it sounds like there are insects buzzing around. Then, with a terrifying look, she challenges the gossips to say all that to her face if they have the guts. Instantly terrified, the girls flee in desperation while making up excuses that they weren't even talking about her. She then goes back to normal right after and comments to her friend about how annoying those people are. Despite this, our guy is on the verge of depression for still not having managed to find a single loyal companion. Standing in the middle of an empty room, he wonders what's happening as he senses a strange presence. Suddenly, a chubby guy jumps out of the cleaning closet and startles our MC with the commotion. The guy ends up falling to the floor in a very clumsy way, making a huge noise on impact. However, the stranger realizes he's been discovered but claims he'll resolve this situation in the blink of an eye. Right after, he starts rolling across the room like a bowling ball, while our hero is left completely confused. Finally, the new character adjusts his glasses and says he heard the call of a soul in distress in that place. The new acquaintance opens his shirt and comments that he noticed how our hero is in need of a true friend. Then Park Min-deok asks with great excitement if the guy happens to have any special interest in military life. Our MC gets a doubtful look on his face and wonders if he really likes army and war stuff. At that moment, he remembers leader Chae-rin's advice on how easy it is to get close to people by pretending to have the same tastes. So, our guy starts to reflect that expressing a shared preference might be the key to the mission's success. The hero then claims that he likes that stuff too, and the chubby guy goes wild with joy, calling him comrade and friend. Our MC thinks that making friends is the simplest thing in the world, while his boss looks worried in the background. However, Park Min-deok won't stop talking and says he's famous in military communications and knows everything about tactics. While the chat goes on, Kim Sol watches everything from a distance with her usual serious expression, showing no reaction. Suddenly, a blonde guy approaches the leadership candidate and greets her with a very cocky smile on his face. He also asks if she's really the famous Kim Sol, while other female students gossip from a corner. The guy says he has a quick matter to discuss and asks if the girl has a spare minute for him. The blonde guy also questions what she's doing after class, acting like he's the hottest guy in school. Kim Sol fiddles with her hair with a look of complete boredom because she clearly can't stand this nonsense. However, she suggests they go outside to talk better and stands right in front of the guy. The student agrees instantly and flashes a victorious smile, thinking he's won the young woman's attention. The two of them go up to the school roof, where the atmosphere seems calm but is filled with scattered trash cans. The blonde guy complains that making a confession in such a dirty place is a bit lame for someone of his caliber. Kim Sol asks if the matter was really a request to be her boyfriend, and the jock says she should invest in him now. However, the girl responds with a very rude gesture right in his face, leaving him completely speechless. Shaking with rage, the blonde guy asks if Kim Sol is really ignoring him right now. Walking away, the girl replies that she's leaving because class is about to start. Yelling furiously, the blonde guy demands that she stop ignoring him as he prepares to do something stupid. Going on the attack, the boy tries to assault Kim Sol because of his bruised ego. Intervening in the situation, our MC appears out of nowhere and lands a perfect kick on a soda can. Flying straight into the blonde guy's face, the liquid stains all his clothes and immediately stops the assault. Complaining about his ruined clothes, the guy asks who the idiot is that dared to interfere. Emanating a terrifying tiger aura, our hero stares down the bully with a look that would freeze anyone's blood. Scared to death, the blonde guy lets out a high-pitched scream as he realizes he messed with the wrong person. Pointing his finger, the coward says that the two weirdos are a perfect match and should get together. Telling the blonde guy to get lost, the girl doesn't even care about his threats and just calls him a complete idiot. Turning to our MC, Kim Sol complains that he's also a very problematic creep. Questioning the boy's actions, she asks if he's acting this way because he happens to like her. Moving his lips calmly, our hero calls the girl by her name and prepares to give his definitive answer. Stating with all the sincerity in the world, our guy says that he does like her, but just as a great friend. Left completely speechless, Kim Sol lets out a cry of surprise as she tries to process what she just heard. Repeating the sentence, the protagonist tries to make it very clear that there is no romantic interest in his words. Confirming that they will never date, the hero agrees with the girl in a very direct and practical way. Shouting in confusion, the young woman agrees that she would never go out with him but soon realizes she was rejected without even trying. Thoughtfully, she looks to the side and wonders how our MC can be so strange and unpredictable. Our hero states that he will protect the girl to the end because he likes her only as a good friend and nothing more. Right after this scene, we see the notes from the afternoon surveillance report while the school hallway is completely empty. Our MC observes that the current target is acting very differently than she did during the morning period. Additionally, she's showing some slight signs of anxiety as she relentlessly taps her feet under the study desk. Kim Sol seems completely lost in her own thoughts and continues to write something mysterious in her notebook. However, a very deep and intense look appears on her face, indicating that something is bothering the young candidate at the moment. Yong Soo-hyun notes that there are no visible signs of any dangerous illness or infection on the girl as he spies on her. Suddenly, she explodes with rage and throws her pencil case at a classmate named Jun-soo, while our MC watches everything. Furious, the girl yells, asking what he's staring at, and demands that the guy at least try to hide properly. The atmosphere gets heavy, and a purple aura of pure hatred envelops Kim Sol, frightening everyone around. Observing the whole scene, her friend Hua becomes thoughtful and lets out a low murmur as she tries to understand her behavior. Our hero jots down in his little notebook that the target's aggression level reached its maximum at exactly 3:34 p.m. Suddenly, his new chubby friend jumps on the protagonist and lets out a loud laugh that almost gives him a heart attack. Min-deok complains that the boy disappeared out of nowhere and asks why he always chooses such strange places to stand around. Soo-hyun quickly tries to change the subject and asks if his companion has seen the important information on the digital screen. On top of that, Min-deok starts giving a lecture on modern weapons and war tanks, while explaining every technical detail. Our hero then enters a deep state of trance upon hearing about political education and high-level military tactics. Realizing he went a bit overboard, the guy apologizes for talking so much by himself during all that time in the room. However, he gets curious and asks what our guy was staring at so intently through the crack in the door. Finally, Min-deok notices it's Kim Sol and states that she is the most beautiful girl on the entire campus. Min-deok is shocked and asks if our MC is really interested in Kim Sol. He also warns that it's a terrible choice because the girl has a very violent personality. But our hero repeats with all the calm in the world that he likes Kim Sol only as a friend. Min-deok gets emotional at the answer and starts to cry, finding the attitude very noble. He then apologizes for being so closed-minded and promises to support the guy in everything from now on. The guy then asks if our MC knows what the best gift to give a dear friend is, because according to him, girls love accessories, but Kim Sol prefers a very simple, no-frills style. We also see that she wears basic flip-flops day to day, proving she doesn't care much for flashy fashion. So our guy gets curious and asks what kind of gift would be ideal to win her friendship. However, Min-deok gets all mysterious and starts looking for something very specific inside his school bag, and he suggests a chest holster to carry a small, cute weapon, leaving the hero speechless. The protagonist just stares at his friend with a look on his face like he can't believe this level of craziness. However, our hero pulls an authentic communicator from his pocket and asks what his companion thinks of it. The chubby guy is fascinated, asking if the device is really an authentic military model. Meanwhile, Kim Sol watches their conversation from the doorway with an unfriendly look on her face. She loses her patience and yells for the guy to just shut up once and for all. Suddenly, Min-deok starts sweating bullets and makes an expression like he's putting in a huge effort. He explains that he's been doing a lot of strength training lately, and that's why he's feeling so tired. But his clothes are so tight that our MC just watches the embarrassing situation unfold. Finally, a button on his shirt pops off and flies right into Kim Sol's forehead, who was watching everything from the door. The button continues to roll across the classroom floor as a very strange and tense silence fills the room. Min-deok tries to apologize for the accident, but Kim Sol continues to watch everything with a deadly, furious gaze. On top of that, our MC thanks him for the equipment and notes that the original models are indeed far superior. Right after, our hero tries to give the gift to the girl, believing it will help their mission. However, Kim Sol is trembling with rage because she can't believe the kind of junk he's offering her. She explodes again and calls the boy a creep, telling him to use that ridiculous object himself. Later in the afternoon, the sun begins to set, and the city streets take on a beautiful and calm orange hue. Soo-hyun walks calmly, even with a black eye after getting a good smack from that angry girl. Even though he's hurt, our MC feels victorious and thinks he's finally gotten closer to Kim Sol. Suddenly, a guy with red hair appears in his path and asks if he's the guy named Jun-soo. Other bullies then surround our hero and ask if he can spare a little time to talk with the group. Our guy remains totally calm and looks at the aggressors without showing a single hint of fear or real concern. The gang leader gives a mocking smile while saying it's a great pleasure to finally meet the new kid. We see the blonde guy from before sitting on a bench, surrounded by his goons who look ready to start trouble. Soo-hyun asks what important matter they have to discuss, since he's in a bit of a hurry right now. The blonde guy makes a psychotic face and asks if the idiot has already forgotten what happened earlier on the school roof. Screaming with hatred, the guy demands to know if the protagonist has lost his memory about the embarrassment he put him through. But our hero replies that he only acted because the blonde guy was the one who started threatening Kim Sol first for no reason. The thugs then grab the boy and warn him that he needs to learn to speak respectfully to the school's upperclassmen. Therefore, they drag the boy into a dark alley while Hyuna watches everything from a distance, not knowing how to react. A powerful kick sends the ball flying across the field as the sun illuminates the entire outdoor area of the school. The ball goes straight into the net while the goalie attempts an impossible save, but can't reach it in time. Kim Sol watches the game hidden in the shade of a tree, showing that she's paying attention to the students' movements. Our hero remembers the moment he pushed away the cocky blonde guy with a swift and very precise move. He states that he will protect the girl no matter what, and this promise makes the atmosphere very heavy. Suddenly, her friend Hyuna calls for the girl to leave soon because classes have been over for a while. The young woman just closes her eyes and decides to ignore the protagonist's words to focus on what really matters now. Footsteps echo down the hall as our MC returns to headquarters to deliver his daily report. Chae-rin is sprawled on the couch, drinking several cans of beer and acting completely relaxed and lazy. Our hero enters the place and announces that the day's tasks were completed successfully without any major errors. The leader asks if anything strange happened at school while continuing to enjoy her moment of total rest. Suddenly, a swift movement happens in the air, demonstrating the incredible agility our MC has in his hands. With absurd reflexes, our guy catches a falling can, leaving his boss quite impressed. Staring intently at the woman, the boy calls her senior, while maintaining a completely serious expression on his face. Additionally, he observes the mess in the apartment and asks if he can tidy everything up a bit. Chae-rin lets out a silly laugh and says he doesn't need to worry about it because she's feeling too lazy. However, our hero puts on gloves and radiates an intense heat as he is determined to make everything sparkle. In a few minutes, the room becomes absolutely spotless, with a shine so bright it could blind anyone. Soo-hyun uses special equipment to detect hidden dirt while the leader watches his exaggerated effort. The woman remains silent with a blank look on her face, not understanding why the boy is so systematic. The leader, Chae-rin, asks Soo-hyun if life at school is being very difficult for him. But our hero replies that it's not, as school and friends are completely new experiences in his life. Continuing his cleaning, the boy holds some papers and reflects a bit on his new feelings. He also finds it all fascinating because these sensations are brand new for an agent like him. The boss, Chae-rin, is visibly relieved by the answer and breaks into a smile of pure satisfaction. Meanwhile, in the dark alley, the bullies are all down on the ground after the beating they took from the guy. Someone walks away from the scene calmly, leaving behind only total destruction and complete chaos. Hiding, a mysterious red-haired guy wonders what the heck just happened in that place. The goons complain that they didn't land a single hit and that the new kid is very skilled in fighting. They question why he just dodged everything, and one of them even jokes that their training worked. Despite looking like a pushover at first, the boy's speed was insane and hurt the group's pride. Therefore, they decide to stop messing with the guy because they feel there's something very strange about him. But the blonde guy gets furious with their decision and asks what they are whispering about behind his back. The leader reminds them that he asked them to teach the boy a lesson because he doesn't like him near Kim Sol at all. Interrupting the conversation, the red-haired guy approaches and says he wants to ask them something. He then asks them to tell him everything they know about the girl named Kim Sol, leaving them very confused. Revealing his face, the stranger introduces himself as someone with a very strong interest in the girl. Back at school, Hyuna approaches her friend at the window and asks if she's heard the latest news. Apparently, there was a big fight with students from another school, and everyone got pretty banged up in the chaos. So she warns Kim Sol to be very careful on her way home because danger is everywhere. Back in the classroom, Min-deok is excitedly talking to our hero about jets and war tanks. Meanwhile, Hyuna asks Kim Sol if something happened, as she seems very strange. But the girl just looks away and says it's nothing to worry her friend over. Suddenly, our MC's eyes go wide as he senses a malevolent presence right behind him. Kim Sol appears screaming, calling him a creep once again for just standing there. She also asks if the guy wants to get hurt and complains that he scared her again with this habit. The young woman says, "Our guy is a lost cause," while Hyun-ta tries to calm the whole situation down. However, a mysterious voice yells, telling everyone to stop what they're doing right this instant. Kim Sol holds the protagonist by his shirt collar as a strange guy approaches them. This guy is the head of the discipline committee and is complaining about the commotion in such a sacred and peaceful school. He demands that the disturbance end immediately, while other students take pictures of the whole scene. However, the crazy couple continues to stare each other down without paying any attention to the guy's lecture. The discipline head gives up and says that's enough messing around for today and that it's all over. Soon, other girls start gossiping, saying that Kim Sol acted all tough, but did nothing in the end. They continue their chatter and wonder what would have happened if the head hadn't shown up. With a smug smile, the guy thinks that despite being weird, people should be grateful to him. But Kim Sol approaches our hero with a very serious and worried expression on her face now. Noticing the change in attitude, the boy asks if a problem has suddenly come up with her. With a furious look, the young woman tells our MC to shut his mouth and not say another word. He obeys instantly and stays silent while Hyuna watches the scene, not understanding anything. Celebrating, the discipline committee head shouts that another case has been successfully closed at the school. Sitting on a bench in the courtyard, Min-deok asks Soo-hyun what he's thinking about so deeply. Our hero then wants to know who the guy was that pointed out Kim Sol's strange behavior earlier. His friend explains that he's the head of the discipline committee and one of the strongest students in the entire school. Suddenly, a girl with glasses approaches them in a very shy and embarrassed manner. Our MC crosses his arms and asks the newcomer if she wants something with him. The young woman offers to tell the story behind the discipline head, making both guys very curious. Min-deok gets super excited about the sudden event and asks what kind of story she's going to tell now. However, the girl gets dizzy and stutters a bit, as she wasn't expecting such an enthusiastic reaction from the guy. Asking to speak with Soo-hyun alone, she leaves his friend heartbroken with cracked glasses. With no choice, Min-deok says goodbye and tells our hero that he is now the main character of that story. The girl apologizes for the situation, and our MC is left confused about what's happening. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Hwang Ching comments that there must be a reason for the head's behavior today. Kim Sol's friend becomes thoughtful and wonders if all of this could be related to Soo-hyun. The young woman questions why Kim Sol is so calm and says she should look for the reason behind the commotion. With a smirk, the leadership candidate asks what good it would do to know the truth about all that. She also states that this isn't the first or second time something like this has happened to her at school. Then Kim Sol asks her friend to go on ahead because she needs to take a walk before heading home. Hyuna offers to go with her, but the girl refuses the company and says she'd rather be alone for a while. Finally, she states that she needs to think for herself a bit and walks away, leaving her worried friend behind. Hyuna agrees to leave Kim Sol alone, as she also has some things to take care of now. In the empty hallway, the girl drinks her soda and fiddles with her phone while waiting for time to pass. Suddenly, Min-deok bumps into her by accident and says he wasn't chosen for that battlefield. The impact is so strong that Kim Sol lets out a cry of pain and loses her balance. The guy apologizes for the accident, but the girl seems to be in a lot of pain in her left arm now. Soo-hyun shows up right on time and recognizes Kim Sol, thinking that she's in trouble again. The young woman with glasses takes the opportunity and says she has something to ask him, making the chubby guy curious. The girl with glasses is excited to finally be able to talk to Soo-hyun so easily and directly. She confesses that if she had known it would be this easy, she would have tried to talk to him much sooner. But our hero cuts through the fluff and asks what the real matter is that she wants to discuss with him. The girl says she loves his cold demeanor and how he has a unique charm that enchants her. She also comments that the guy doesn't give a darn about anyone except for Kim Sol. Always. Ever since he transferred to the school, she has been watching his every move from afar. The girl claims she pretended not to know, but she saw everything he did for Kim Sol during this whole time. She was surprised to realize that his every action was for the good of the North Korean leadership candidate. However, Kim Sol always ignored him, cussed him out, and even assaulted him several times for no apparent reason. That's why the young woman suggests that he try to get close to her instead of continuing to suffer at the hands of the other girl. Our MC refuses the offer on the spot, and Kim Sol watches everything from a distance with a shocked look. He says he doesn't know what she's talking about, and that he doesn't expect anything in return for what he does for Kim Sol. Finally, our hero states that he likes her and acts for her well-being, and that's all that matters in the end. But the girl with glasses says that Kim Sol seems very bothered by his actions all the time. Our MC replies that it's all just trial and error to complete his secret mission. Hidden Kim Sol overhears the conversation and gives a slight smile, as she seems to have liked the answer. She bites her finger lightly, and her cheeks turn red, indicating she's a little embarrassed. The young woman apologizes and says she'll root for him from afar, but the guy says it's not necessary. Our hero walks alone down the street as the afternoon sun illuminates the city with its golden rays. Suddenly, Huang Qing appears in front of him and calls his name, leaving the boy very surprised. He asks what she's doing there, since that's not her usual way home. The girl replies that today she just wanted to talk with him for a bit, and stares at him with a strange look. A gleaming red wire appears stretched between her hands, revealing that something dangerous is about to happen. With red eyes and a sinister smile, Hwanga asks if the guy has a moment for her. Our MC remains silent and just observes the girl with an expression of total suspicion. He refuses the invitation and says it's almost dinner time, as he doesn't want to waste time on nonsense. Laughing, the young woman says he's better at jokes than he looks and asks if he can't spare even a second. But our hero explains that the killing intent she's radiating is very strong at the moment. With a quick movement, he activates his power, and his eyes glow with an intense red light. He goes on the attack, but the girl is faster and uses the wire to tightly wrap around his neck. Our protagonist's head is torn from his shoulders, and Human is shocked by the brutality of the whole scene. With a cold look, she says he needs to maintain a reasonable distance from the people around him. However, the guy appears hanging upside down and asks why she attacked him like that. He demands a valid explanation for the sudden attack while Huang Qing glares at him angrily. Our MC adjusts his tie and remains silent, waiting for the girl to calm down a bit. He also states that some compensation will be necessary because of the scare she gave him. The young woman says he's very calm for someone who just got lucky dodging a blow, the wow. With a deadly look, she challenges him to dodge the next attack and lunges at him with everything she's got. But our hero easily grabs her arm and says he has no intention of fighting right now. He just needs an explanation for the whole situation and pushes her away with a quick move. The guy tells her to stop messing around and give him an answer, as it's almost dinner time. Human's eyes glow with intense fury as she prepares to attack again. She screams for him to shut up and uses the red wire to tightly bind his legs. Our MC is caught by surprise and is immobilized, unable to move properly at the moment. With eyes glowing in the dark, the girl approaches and stares at him with an expression of pure malice. He realizes that the last attack was very dangerous and that she is not messing around at all. A sound of shattering glass echoes through the area as the tension rises between the two combatants. Suddenly, the boss, Che-rin, appears in the middle of the chaos with a gun in her hand and a serious look. She asks if they can't just calm down a bit and act like friends instead of fighting. Huang Chai is frozen with fear upon seeing the leader there and can't believe what's happening. With a smile on her face, Chai-rin asks if they can't stop fighting among friends now. But Huna explodes with rage and tells her not to get on her nerves because she's not friends with anyone. The boss is left speechless by the response and lets out a low murmur as the situation spirals out of control. The boss, Che-rin, calls for a timeout and tells everyone to calm down and think more clearly now. On top of a tall building, we see that night has already fallen and the city is covered in total darkness. The leader tells Huang Qing to look at the big picture and understand the gravity of the current situation. The girl asks if this means Kim Sol is in danger, and the boss confirms with a nod. Because of this super dangerous situation, her superiors and Huma's elder made a deal. We then find out that Hunoer is Kim Seol's personal bodyguard and a student at Union High School. The leader assures her that everything is real, and Hyuna wonders why her grandfather would make such a decision. The boss explains that Kim Sol's safety is the elder's top priority, above all else. Hyuna remains silent, processing the information, as she can't believe the whole story. The leader says that if she still doesn't get it, she should just think of it as a direct order. Our MC agrees that looking at it from a broader perspective, this is the most efficient decision. Huang Qing repeats the phrase, and the boss agrees, saying that the big picture is what really matters. Finally, the girl understands the situation for now and crosses her arms with a serious expression. She says she has a question and asks if she can ask leader Che-rin something. The young woman wants to know what kind of person the elder is, with whom our MC currently lives. Our hero replies that he's just someone he lives with, and Hyuna is suspicious of the answer. The boss reveals that all the superiors know that elder and that he has only ever protected important people. She also finds it amazing that he's protecting Kim Sol even though she's not his blood-related daughter. Hyuna wonders if that's really such an incredible feat since she isn't actually his relative. The leader slaps our MC and tells the girl to watch her mouth around him. The boss, Che-rin, apologizes and says she accidentally expressed herself in a misleading way. She explains that now they need to be careful of even more enemies, and that joining forces is the best option. Additionally, she promises that all the credit for the results will go to Hyuna Ha, so she can earn some recognition. Convinced, the girl agrees to the plan, and finally accepts the proposal to work as a team. The leader celebrates with a sinister smile and says that dealing with kids is her greatest specialty. She warns that now they need to get along at school so they don't raise any suspicion. Our MC and Hyuna nod in agreement, but the girl seems very uncomfortable. The leader then says she's going back to base and will share all the mission data with her. After Hyuna leaves the room, our hero turns to the boss and shows his distrust. He says that she can't be trusted, and the leader asks if her intention was that obvious. She states that Hyuna is a good girl, but a bit clumsy, and that everything will be fine. Finally, she asks our MC to keep an eye on his new partner from now on. Walking alone down the street, Kim Sol's head is full of thoughts and worries. She tries to call Humane several times, but her friend doesn't pick up or reply to her messages. Worried, the girl wonders why her friend isn't answering her calls at all. She starts to think that Hyuna has been kidnapped or something because she would never ignore her like this. Desperate, Kim Sol wonders who she can ask for help at a time like this. With her phone in hand, she looks for a contact who can resolve the situation quickly. She then decides to call our MC by a strange name, and he replies instantly. Kim Sol explains that her friend isn't answering, and the hero tells her not to worry because he's there. On her phone, the girl reads that the action she should take immediately is to type something very specific. But right after, she receives a message about a premium subscription and gets furious at the joke. She yells that it's her own fault for asking him for help, while the guy says that hurts his feelings. Suddenly, a red-haired guy emerges from the darkness and says he has finally found Kim Sol. The girl complains that his help is just making her more annoyed and asks for something that's actually useful. Our hero apologizes, saying he thought it might help, but Kim Sol isn't having any of it. She doesn't get what's going on, and the guy explains he only used the word because she used it first. Confused, the young woman wonders if the jerk is doing this on purpose just to tick her off even more. Suddenly, a student on a scooter shows up, yelling for her to watch out and get out of the way fast. The red-haired guy pulls her away from the danger, ending up holding her in his arms to protect her. The student apologizes for the near accident while Kim Sol gets all flustered being so close to the redhead. He asks if the girl is okay, and she tells him to let go of her hand because everything's under control now. Right after that, a baseball player launches a ball in their direction, but the guy catches it with total ease. The athlete apologizes for the mistake, and the redhead says it's all good since nobody got hurt. All of a sudden, a sign from a building starts to fall, and the girl screams in panic at the new threat. As if that wasn't enough, a runaway truck appears on the street and almost runs them both over in the middle of the chaos. The guy saves her yet again, and remarks that it seems like trouble just won't leave her alone for a second. With a smirk, he asks if she might be the type of person who's a natural trouble magnet wherever she goes. Kim Sol thinks the guy is a complete idiot, but hey, at least he's easy on the eyes. On top of that, the redhead warns her that things are about to get dangerous again and hides a weapon behind his back. Out of nowhere, an old man appears and asks what the girl is doing in a place like this so late at night. Surprised, Kim Sol recognizes him as Hyuna's grandfather and doesn't understand why he's there. The old man explains that many lovely young ladies come around here to exercise, and he just loves watching the scenery. With a pervy look in his eyes, Grandpa says the place is full of healthy beauty, leaving the girl speechless. Hyuangela's grandfather warns her that it's getting late, and the night can be pretty dangerous for a girl. Kim Sol thanks the redhead for his help and asks if her friend is home yet, since she's not answering her phone. The old man says his granddaughter is busy, and the girl says her goodbyes, running off so she won't get home too late. The elder comments on how bright the young woman is, and the guy agrees, but the mood shifts as he wants to know what the redhead is thinking. With glowing red eyes, he questions why the guy protected Kim Sol, since his objective would be easier without her. The redhead cracks a wicked smile and replies that he simply had his own reasons for doing what he did. Grandpa says the guy might be doing his job, but he also needs to do what's necessary for his own mission. Suddenly, the old man's eyes glow with an intense red light as he prepares to attack. In the blink of an eye, the elder lunges forward with insane speed and tries to land a direct hit on the redhead. But the guy dodges the attack and appears behind the old man, using a random girl who was there as a human shield. Holding a knife, he asks the woman to answer a question, while the people around them are frozen in place. The grandfather gets all awkward about the situation, and the redhead asks why he's so spooked by it. The guy wonders what kind of monster that old man is because he couldn't even keep up with his movements. Changing scenes, we see a large, luxurious house at night, where an important conversation is taking place. Someone is informed that an assassin got close to Kim Sol, and that he was stronger than expected. The person regrets that it all happened while they were away, and looks at a photo of the redhead in a military uniform. Hyuna is shocked, realizing she almost failed to protect her friend, and understands that cooperation is more necessary now. Her grandfather, Lee Tae-sik, a former special agent, tells her there's no way she can protect Kim Sol on her own. She remembers the strength of her new partners and acknowledges that they are indeed very skilled in combat. But Hyuna gets furious, saying she's way better than them and doesn't need help from some puppet state. Grandfather Lee Tae-sik says that for someone like her, her heart is pretty closed off and cold. With a red face, Hyuna asks who he thinks he's talking to like that. On top of that, she yells that she'll prove, no matter what, that she's more than capable of taking care of her friend. The young woman declares with absolute certainty that she can protect Kim Sol all by herself, without anyone's help. Looking at a family photo, the old man wonders who she inherited such a stubborn streak from. Back at school, Hyuna apologizes for not picking up Kim Sol's calls the day before. But the girl asks her friend to back off a little, because she's acting really weird. Kim Sol complains that this is just strange. While Min-deok watches the scene with a look of admiration, blushing, he wonders if he's witnessing the legendary scissments right before his very eyes. Suddenly, the blonde guy from before shows up, and Kim Sol groans about having to see that jerk again. He demands that the girl get out of there, but Hyuna approaches him with a less than friendly look on her face. With a weapon in hand, she threatens to end him if he ever dares to bother her friend again. The young woman asks if he understands and tells the guy to nod his head to confirm he got the message. Scared out of his mind, the blonde guy runs off, thinking that Kim Sol's friend is a total psycho too. The head of discipline shows up and asks what all the commotion is about, but Hyuna just glares at him with hatred in her eyes. Grabbing the guy by the collar, she tells him to shut his mouth and never bother Kim Sol again for the rest of his life. The head honcho's followers try to defend him, but Hyuna stares them down with a terrifying, deadly aura. Frightened, the girls admit it's their fault, as Hyuna maintains her furious expression. Min-deok is impressed by her attitude, and our hero thinks to himself that she's finally taking the mission seriously. Kim Sol asks what's gotten into her, and Hyuna realizes she might have gone a little overboard. Hyuna tries to explain herself, but Kim Sol just says she's acting super weird right now. because her friend claims she's acting exactly like Jong Soo-hyun, which leaves her in total shock. Devastated, Hyun-ah can't believe the comparison, while our protagonist watches her from a distance. With a smile on his face, our hero gives the girl a thumbs up, approving of her actions. Hyun-ah is left speechless at the sight, and Kim Sol just observes the interaction between the two. Completely crushed, the girl shrinks into a corner of the room for being compared to that idiot. Meanwhile, outside the school, the redhead from before is watching the place with a very thoughtful look. With a smirk, he introduces himself as An Taemin, musing that this whole thing could be a lot of fun. We find out he's an elite agent from the State Security Department of the Democratic Republic of Korea. Furthermore, he's a proud warrior who went through brutal and inhumane training for his mission. The teacher writes his name on the board and introduces him as the new transfer student for the class. With a friendly smile, he introduces himself to the class and reveals that his mission is to eliminate Kim Sol. The girl recognizes him from the day before and is shocked to see him standing right there in front of her. With a cocky look, he thinks that for the sake of the revolution, she will meet her end at his hands very soon. The guy walks up to her desk and stares at her with a sparkle in his eye, expecting a positive reaction. He asks if she's fallen for him already, while Hyun-ah watches the whole thing with her face covered. Kim Sol just gives him a look of pure boredom, finding the new guy's face incredibly annoying and bland. The guy thinks that first, he needs to get a feel for the general atmosphere of the place to plan his next moves. Suddenly, a soccer ball flies in his direction and smacks him right in the face with a lot of force. Other students invite him to play, and so begin the preliminary rounds for the school's sports festival. During the game, the blonde guy Jung-soo kicks the ball with all his might toward the opposing team's goal. With a leap, the goalie Min-deok tries to block it, but the ball goes straight into the net, making the score 1-0. The girls in the cheering squad scream that Jung-soo is amazing, and he wonders if Kim Sol is watching. He turns to look at her, thinking that she should have seen that incredible moment and his great skill. However, Kim Sol is just complaining about the team's jersey, and her friend Hyun-ah comments on her stomach. Hwang Ching says the outfit suits her friend, but the girl wonders if it really looks good on her. On top of that, Hwang Cha mentions that she hates wearing clothes with the name of the puppet army on her back. Changing the subject, she thinks about the new student, An Taemin, and gets a serious, very suspicious look. She remembers he's from state security and has no idea what evil plans the guy has for the school. But Hyuna promises herself that as long as she's around, he won't touch a single hair on Sol's head. Taoline gets all sweaty and wonders if the female students here are also soldiers for the enemy army. He starts to panic, thinking that he never received any intel about this kind of situation. Meanwhile, the other girls are just chatting and laughing casually, not even noticing the guy's paranoia. But in his head, they are all filthy American guard dogs, armed to the teeth and ready for war. He wonders if Princess Kim Sol is also an enemy, and she just stares back at him with a not-so-friendly expression. Breaking out in a cold sweat, the guy realizes this mission is much harder than he had initially imagined. Suddenly, another ball smacks him right in the head, and the poor guy doesn't even have time to react to the impact. Lying on the ground, Taemin wonders if everyone in this school is actually his enemy in disguise. Our protagonist approaches the new guy and asks if he's okay, since he doesn't seem used to the game. The girls comment that the new student is cute, but our hero Soo-hyun is no slouch either. One of the girls remarks that our hero Soo-hyun is totally devoted to Kim Sol as he helps the new guy. Then another girl asks Sehwa which of the two guys she likes more at the moment. Being the boy-crazy girl she is, Yang Sewa replies with a smile that she actually likes them both equally. Right after, the same question is asked to Marie, who gets all flustered and doesn't know what to say. But she seems to think that our protagonist, Soo-hyun, is the most interesting of all the competitors. Suddenly, the pink-haired teacher yells at the students, getting everyone's attention. Introduced as Steel, he asks if they're trying to embarrass their teacher like that. Furthermore, he warns that if the team loses, everyone will be cleaning the gym until the place is sparkling. The threat makes Tamlin remember his brutal training, and he gets a look of pure panic on his face. Other students are confused by the scene, while the guy tries to explain himself to the tough-as-nails teacher. Shaking with fear, Raymond starts to freak out and lets out a low groan of pure desperation and agony. With fury in his eyes, he screams that he's not going to let it end like this, and goes on the attack. Running like a madman, he steals the ball from Jung-soo, who is shocked by the new guy's speed. With a powerful kick, Tumen sends the ball straight into the back of the net, giving the goalie no chance. The ball flies in, tying the game at 1-1, leaving the other team's goalie stunned. His teammates celebrate the goal and congratulate the new guy on the incredible play he just made. With a smile on his face, Taeyam feels a sense of accomplishment and camaraderie for the first time. The girls in the cheering squad are surprised and comment that he's also really good at playing soccer. Seizing the moment, the teacher announces that whoever scores the winning goal gets a date with Kim Sol. The girl is furious with the proposal, and the teacher just says she's weird but the most popular girl in class. Hyuna gets excited and asks the teacher if she can get on the field to score the winning goal. Our hero thinks the idea is a good way to get closer to Sol, but then he immediately gives up on the plan himself. However, a voice in his head gives him the order to score a goal, and our boy agrees on the spot. Ting Termin realizes that a date is the perfect chance to eliminate Kim Sol in a much easier way. With the same goal in mind, the two rivals run desperately toward the ball to try and score. But Jung-soo complains that they underestimated him the whole time, and that soccer isn't just played with grit. With a very strong kick, the blonde sends the ball straight for the goal, trying to end the match for good. Sweating bullets, the goalie Mindeok concentrates and prepares to use all his courage at that moment. With an incredible jump, our chubby guy makes a spectacular save and rescues the team from certain defeat. He celebrates and asks if they thought he was just a useless burden to the rest of the team. Right after, Mindeok kicks the ball far away and yells for his friends to go win over Kim Sol. Seizing the chance, Soo-hyun and Taemin reach the ball at the same time for the decisive kick. The girls in the cheering squad are shocked to see that they both kicked at the exact same instant. Using a combination kick, the ball soars up with fiery energy and heads toward the sky with immense force. But the ball ends up landing out of bounds, and the match ends in a tie with no clear winner. The teacher and Kim Sol lament that the shot was so close to going in and deciding the game. Taemin and Soo-hyun shake hands, acknowledging that they both played really well in the tough match. Our hero mentions that there's still the penalty shootout, and the new guy thinks he's a pretty cool dude. However, their team ends up getting eliminated 3-0, losing their chance to advance in the tournament. Even with the loss, Yang Se-hwa watches our protagonist from afar and thinks he's really cool. After the loss, Mindeok asks Soo-hyun if he saw his save, while Taemin complains about the result. But our protagonist doesn't even pay attention to his friend, keeping his usual serious expression without giving any reply.